And now, all of a sudden, we get a big all-Australian clash. We know the narrative of New South Wales against Queensland, but forget that. You've got the narrative of two tremendous Australian fighters. One guy, as I said, that's been there and done it all in George Kambosos, and a young man that has the opportunity to change his life on Saturday in Jake Wyllie. Jake, we'll start with you. I think one of the most bizarre things is you'd already bought a ticket for Saturday night. Yeah. 2 tickets up in the tiers. You were coming to watch George Kambosos. Now you're fighting him on Saturday, live on DAZN around the world. What an opportunity for you.
Mate, it's huge. We prepared to come down here for sparring for my fight that was to be in a couple of weeks' time. My coach Luke and I, we had booked tickets to come and watch George. And, you know, as it is, here we are fighting him.
Just a remarkable story where you said you heard the phone ringing. You know, you didn't answer it, and then all of a sudden you did answer it, and it was the call. You didn't sleep great that night. Can you quite believe that you're about to take on George Kambosos on Saturday? Well,
it was about 9:15 on Sunday night, and I was half asleep. Well, I was asleep, and I sort of rolled over. I thought, geez, who's calling me this late? And it was my manager, and I thought, I better call him back. And there it was. He said, mate, George Kambosos' opponent's out. He's like, you willing to step up and take this on? And without any hesitation, I said, yes, my word, I am. And I could not sleep for the rest of the night. I mean, I was so excited.
It's starting to make me think I didn't even have to give you a purse. You would have fought anyway on Saturday night.
I wouldn't have cared. I'm not here for that.
He wanted the Kambosos lottery ticket too. Come on.
Mate, I'm here to beat George Kambosos. Yes, the money's great and that's good, but my focus isn't on that. I'm here to do a job on George and change my life forever.
I think that's an important thing to talk about, is your true belief in this fight. Some people take a fight. I mean, talk about short notice. Not really. I mean, you were in training camp. You were fighting in a couple of weeks as well. But do you sit here as a guy grateful for the opportunity, or you sit here as a guy with true belief that you beat this man on Saturday night?
True belief. I always stay active. I always stay fit. I always stay healthy, so that when these opportunities arise, I can drop the hammer and say, bang, I'm taking the fight. I don't have to get ready. I'm always ready. Weight was down. I'm not jumping off the couch here. I'm coming in fit, hard, strong, and ready to do a job on George Kambosos.
I've seen various interviews, and you know, I know that you're a respectable young man as well. You're not really one for the beef, but it doesn't seem that you rate this guy too highly. I know you respect what he's done as well, but having watched him from afar, have you always felt you could beat George Kambosos?
Of course, I've watched him from afar. He's done big things in Australian boxing, and you know, credit where credit's due. He's done some huge things, like the 2 Haney fights that he brought over here, and that was brilliant. And but for me, I've always looked at George and thought, geez, if I could only get my hands on him, he is so beatable. And now here we are. I've got the chance, and I'm not going to let this one slip.
And finally, everybody's talking about Kambosos, 2-division world champion, opportunity in New York. Do you quite fathom what would happen to you on Saturday night? I mean, this is a life-changing opportunity, but you win on Saturday night. You put yourself in line for a shot at the World Championship at 140. You start talking about Hitchins, Garcia, Haney, you know, all those names that you mentioned there. You put yourself in the mix for those guys.
Man, I look at all those top boys and I compare myself to them. I really don't think I'm that far off it. I think now's the time to beat George. I beat George on Saturday night, and then I'll look at the future. But my focus for now is George Kambosos on Saturday.
And my final question, I know they call you Jake Wyllie with a heavy-handed machine as well, but also at the end of the day, you have a huge knockout percentage on your record. When you got that phone call on Saturday night and you couldn't sleep and you were laying in bed thinking about this fight, do you see a knockout from Jake Wyllie? Is that how you win this fight on Saturday?
Look, everyone goes on about the KO percentage, but again, I'll put it down to my hard work and effort. I don't believe I'd be getting these KOs if I didn't put hard work and effort in. It just comes. Yes, I can punch and I've got hands, but I'm prepared for 12 rounds and 12 rounds of boxing, and 12 rounds of blood, sweat and tears. And that's what I'm here to do.
Well done for taking the opportunity. We'll start off with Jim Kambosos. Jim, welcome. It was a roller coaster the last few days. You know, we're grateful for this man for stepping up, but a real fight. You know, the hunted in George Kambosos. We know what he's done for Australian boxing Jake Wyllie can try and rip that from him on Saturday. And George looks in tremendous shape, ready to make a statement to the world in Sydney.
Yeah, well, it's great to be here, and obviously this is a great Sydney mega fight, probably the biggest card in Australia this year. And welcome to Matchroom Boxing for coming to Sydney and making this happen on a brilliant show. Look, I mean, look what's around us here. Look at the talent. This is huge talent. But going back to your question, I had the worst Sunday on Sunday. It was pretty much the worst Sunday in my whole career as a manager. First of all, Palacio denied to get on a plane in Chile, so he spent 12 hours sleeping on the floor due to some visa technical issue. And then about 10 minutes later, Jordan, his manager, contacts me and tells me they're out. So I'm scrambling, leaving messages on your phone. So here we are. We've got a live dog in Jake Wyllie. He's got power in both hands. And we're up for the challenge. And, George Kambosos, he loves a challenge, and he's proved what he's done in the past, former undisputed, and Jake's getting the Cinderella story. And, is it a rocky story for him? I don't think it's going to have a rocky finish. But we're just happy that the show goes on, and the main event now is George Kambosos and Jake Wyllie.
It's been an up and down road for you guys this week as well, and an up and down few years, a tremendous few years, of course, winning all those championships as well, coming back and putting big fights in Australia. Shout out as well to Lou DiBella, our partner in this event as well. But also adamant, you guys, that we return to Sydney. The first time, I think, in over 8 years since George Kambosos has boxed in Sydney, and a proud moment for you to be headlining back here.
Oh, definitely. I mean, last time George, and yes, shout out to DiBella Entertainment. George Kambosos got an exclusive agreement since 2018 with Lou DiBella from DiBella Entertainment. But yeah, 2016 was the last time George fought in Sydney at the iconic Luna Park, which if you haven't visited, you should go and visit whilst you're here, down at the Sydney Harbour. And yeah, we always wanted to bring back, a great fight in Sydney because George is the hometown local. And now this Saturday, it's happening. I get a lot of questions asked constantly by the Australian fans, and this is why I urge the Australian fans from Sydney to be out there on Saturday night, because when George Kambosos fights in Melbourne or when George Kambosos fights in Perth, people sit and send me messages and email me and tell me, why won't George fight in Sydney? Well, there's a lot more that goes behind why fights happen in certain states, and it's got to do with government funding. Well, this one here is not government funded, but I've urged Eddie, yourself, and Matchroom to bring it to Sydney, because George Kambosos deserves that hero's welcome in front of his own fans. So Saturday night, all the Sydney locals and faithful, get out there, get your tickets, and come and watch not only George Kambosos, but come and watch the champions on either side of me, who will basically be slugging it out on Saturday night.
Thanks, Jim. Over to George. George, welcome. I know that when Jim first phoned me about the news, I think it was late Sunday night, your time, he didn't want to let you know at the time, wanted to wait till the morning because it was very late and you were focused and locked in. Talk us through that moment. You seem to accept this challenge quite quickly. You've been around boxing before, you know what can happen, and fully locked in for a really important moment in your career on Saturday.
Yeah, obviously first, it's great to be back home in Sydney. Big fight here, big buzz in the city. And obviously thanks to Matchroom, DiBella Entertainment, Ferocious Promotions, and Turkey and Riyadh season as well. This is an extremely important fight. And obviously, yeah, we had a certain opponent, but that's boxing. You always got to be ready for the unexpected. And for us, we just adapt. We've been through so many scenarios. We've been through so many experiences at the championship level, at the biggest level in the game. So one guy's out. Okay, who's the next guy? And of course, respect to Jake jumping in. His style was suited. We said, okay, give him the shot. Young kid, respectful, humble kid. Give him his rocky story. But like I've said it, don't get it twisted. This is not a happy ending. There's a difference between fighting domestic level and having the Australian title and fighting at the level I've been fighting at. So he says there's holes. I'd like to ask him, what holes do you see? Which fights do you see the holes in? Is it the Lomachenko fight? Is it the Devin Haney fight?
Put it this way.
What about?
You wouldn't have taken the fight if it wasn't any good.
Is it? I'm not finished. I'm talking. Well, your turn. Is it the Lopez fight when I beat his ass, who's the current number one at 140? The Lee Selby fight, which we did on a beautiful matchroom card. These guys are the best of the best. You know, people say they see holes, but there's a difference between the elite, the pinnacle, where I have been for so many years fighting, compared to the level he's been fighting. And yes, he's got a nice knockout ratio, good record. I respect that. I respect the kid. I don't have any bad beef. I'm not going to sit here and, you know, make him look like, you know, say anything bad about him. But when you deep dive on the guys he's knocked out, they're all plums.
Jake, your opportunity to respond. What holes do you see in Kambosos?
I see plenty. I think, yes, he's been in there with top boxers that are slick and they're sharp, but I don't think he's been in there with someone that can do it all and that can punch the way I can. When I hit, they stay hit.
So
and
you punch harder than Teo?
In many a fights of mine. Not that I've had all that many, but yeah, I've had a few, and not many have got past it. So let's see what George has got.
Well, it's easy when you're knocking out 15 plums, and let's be for real. There's only one real fight on that record, and that's Dana Coolwell. He's a good kid. I brought him in for sparring a long time ago, but he's really a featherweight, and it was a 6-rounder split decision, very close fight. The rest of them, you know, I could line them all up and beat them right now. So let's not get it twisted. I know he's excited. I know this is a big stage. And like I said, I'm not disrespecting. I'm fully focused on this guy because there's too much on the line. I've had too much of a great preparation with my team, my coach, Anton. We have come through the big fights, the experience, and the camp we have had. There's too much on the line. But you know, like I said, he's got his dreams, but they're only dreams for now.
I know that when you've had those dreams, obviously you've been in Jake's position as well. Do you think he truly believes he can beat you on Saturday night?
No, deep down, he's got to say that. He's got to, you know, try to persuade some of his fans here in the crowd. Deep down, he doesn't really believe that. There's a difference, and let me tell you. And I felt that difference when I stepped up to the Mickey Bay, the Lee Selby. These are world-class operators, and you hit them with your best shot, and they look at you and laugh. Now, he's coming into a big step. He's not even getting, you know, a guy that, you know, was there, and he's getting the guy that's been there for the top and fought the best of the best. You know, this is not, you know, this is a hard fight for him. Very, very hard fight. He's out of depth, and yeah, like I said, respect. But Saturday night, I've got to handle my business.
When you look at this fight, you know, I know there's been a lot of talk about Richardson Hitchens. You've got to come through Saturday. Do you want to make a statement on Saturday night? It's not just a case of finding a victory by any means. You have to go out there and make a statement to the world.
Well, I think it's only a statement will be made. You know, when I looked at Jake, you know, he sees holes against, you know, the guys I fought, but I see holes against the guys he fought. And even that they've been not at the level I've been fighting at, but you take his last fight, which was lucky it was a cut because he was rocked real bad in round 2. The other guy was coming on, so I think a statement naturally is going to happen either way. Of course, there's that added motivation and inspiration. The whole camp's been like that. Of course, all the biggest names in the world want to fight Kambosos. You know that, Eddie. But my focus is on this kid on Saturday night.
Finally, a final word from both. Jake, it says you don't truly believe you win this fight on Saturday. I know your team are here, ready. Do you truly believe on Saturday night your hand is raised and your life changes forever?
Most definitely. I'm here to win, and I've got one job to do on Saturday night, and that's to beat George Kambosos. I envisioned it, I dream about it, and, you know, all I can do is make it happen on Saturday night.
George, final one from you. Back home in Sydney, tremendous arena, live on DAZN around the world. I know that you believe you beat Jake Wyllie, but a big pressure moment for you. Of course, you could move on to fight for the World Championship. It's absolute must win for you in Sydney on Saturday.
Yeah, of course. It's like I said, it's great to be back. Great to be, you know, doing it here at Kudos Bank Arena. You know, respect to Jake stepping up, but I'm going to handle my business. Yeah, of course, pressure, but I never feel that pressure. Doesn't matter who I'm fighting. Doesn't matter how many people I'm walking out in front of. I just go with the flow. I enjoy myself. I say it the way it is. like it or hate it. You can love me, you can hate me, you can do what you want. Kambosos going to do it the way it is, and as sharp as me and JKSM agencies here with our Lupo Bianco suits, they'll be sharp on Saturday night, and these aren't the cheap suits.
Well, you two look fantastic. I feel underdressed up here, but what we do have is a great all-Australian fight card. Before we go to the head-to-head, I believe we have a couple of questions from the media as well.
Hey, g'day, George. Jabin, the Punch Podcast. You spoke of levels with Jake. Do you truly believe, you've said you will beat him? If you don't, as direct as this is it retirement?
I don't even think about that. Like I said, I go with the flow every day. Every day for me, I love life. I enjoy my life. I have a good life. And, we're going to win this fight. This kid. I ain't losing to no Jake Wyllie. And get it this way. You got me fucked up if you think I'm going to lose to Jake Wyllie. Simple as that.
Yeah, Jay McAllister, question for Jake Wyllie. This is George's first fight at 140 pounds. How do you think he'll handle the weight?
Look, he's an experienced fella. I'm under no illusions to what I'm in for. But yeah, I think the power, he may struggle with it.
Jackson Stanley, Australian Boxing Central. Terra Moana, this one's for you. There's a lot of hype around you. How quickly do you want to move through the heavyweight division?
All I want to do is I want to fight the best, starting with Australia, and then we'll go from there. I trust my managers. I trust my team, Eddie. So they'll put whoever in front of me, and I'll take care of whoever they put in front of me.
You just said Australia. Does Justice Hoonan come in mind at all?
I said anyone in Australia. So eventually that'll happen, I think.
Too easy. Thank you.
Right, thank you, guys. I believe we're going to pose the head-to-head, as I said, on Saturday night, live on DAZN around the world, the home of boxing. I think it's one of the biggest fight cards to land in Australia for some time. On the TV portion of the card, Iman Katiev against Palacios, Terra Moana against Singh, 2 women's world championship fights in Shanika Johnson against Nina Hughes, Sky Nicholson against Tiara Brown, and the all-Australian clash, George Kambosos against Jake Wyllie. Don't miss it all here on Saturday. The weigh-in tomorrow as well. We're going to face off everyone here. Thanks for coming today. Thank you.